Hello there and welcome back to Bullets for Bucks. My name's Stephen Bresnaugh and today we're going to be going over the Ruger American versus the Winchester Model 70. Now some of you who know a lot about bolt action rifles may think, well, why are you even doing this comparison? Well, there's a lot of people out here that are new to bolt action rifles or new to hunting and they're curious, and so this is going to answer some questions for them. Obviously, the Ruger American is a much cheaper rifle, almost, I would say 50% cheaper than the Winchester Model 70, and obviously probably isn't going to be as nice as the Winchester Model 70, but let's go over the details and pros and cons of each. Now, first let's look at the stock on the Ruger American. Okay, it's very cheap polymer, has a hollow feel to it. Has a very narrow area right here that I could see maybe failing. Has a plastic trigger guard, which, you know, if it fell on a rock just right, it could crack. Features a detachable rotary box magazine that is polymer. They do work well and it goes in very nicely. Has a plastic forend here, of course, and, well, it flexes very easy and makes contact with the free-floated barrel. If you put any pressure on it, it definitely makes contact. Features, of course, your normal traditional sling swivel studs. It is light though. The Ruger American is lighter than I believe all the Winchester Model 70 versions available on the market. Now let's take a look at, now this one happens to be the Model 70 Super Grade, but all the current production Model 70s come with either a high quality stock that's wood or a high quality fiberglass stock with an aluminum bedding block. So either they come with a wood stock with glass bedding or a fiberglass stock with aluminum bedding block. Now, this is obviously very high quality, beautiful wood, beautiful checkering job. Barrel's fully free floated and it doesn't flex and make contact with the barrel when there's pressure on it. Let's take a look at the trigger guard. It's all high quality metal, very solid, and it features a beautiful one-piece metal trigger guard and then a beautiful metal floor plate. Also to mention, everything in this thing is metal. I don't think there's a plastic piece on this entire rifle that I have found at all, ever, in any part of it. Has beautiful recessed attachments for a sling, and very, very nice. All the stocks offered with the Winchester Model 70 are superior in craft and build than the Ruger American. Now let's take a look at the recoil pad. The recoil pad is a Packmeyer recoil pad on the Winchester Model 70. It's very nice, firm yet soft enough to mitigate felt recoil. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, very soft and smushy. You know, but it does get the job done. They both work. I would say obviously this one feels cheaper, but both get the job done. I believe both barrels are cold hammer forged and very accurate actually, but we'll get more into that in just a little bit. Now let's take a look and see how of course I'm going to triple check this is empty. I already did off camera. Let's run the bolt. Kind of clanky. Now it does only have a 60-degree throw, I believe. Kind of has a secondary catch right there, but very clanky. You can hear the zipper sound from the machining marks in the receiver and on the bolt body itself, but it is relatively smooth. Now let's try this one here. Make sure it's empty. Okay, wow. Feels like glass on glass. Very tight tolerances, just a beautiful action, much smoother. Just far better there. One thing to note is the action on the Winchester Model 70 is controlled round feed using a Mauser style extractor, huge claw extractor. So it controls the cartridge from the time it picks it up out of the magazine all the way in, and then it controls it all the way until it's ejected. Whereas the Ruger American is a push feed action, and it pushes it out of the magazine and pushes it into the chambering, but doesn't actually control the cartridge. I have a video, control round feed versus push round feed. To get a more in-depth understanding of that, or pros and cons of it, go ahead and check out that video on my channel. let's go ahead and take a look at the trigger now. The Winchester XPR and the Winchester Model 70 both feature the MOA trigger. That's the acronym for it. It's a single stage trigger. Wow. There is literally no creep and almost no over treble on that trigger. Absolutely beautiful. From the factory breaks about 3.5 pounds. Now let's try this one here. We'll of course triple check it. It features a blade down the middle, and it's designed much like an Accu trigger, a Savage Accu trigger. Okay, a little bit of creep going into it. It breaks nicely, but not quite as clean, and then it does have more perceivable over travel. So not surprisingly, the trigger on the Model 70 is better, and the XPR trigger is also better, in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and let's look at the safety design. On the Winchester Model 70, you have a wing style safety, and it's 3-position all the way forward, unlocks the bolt and the trigger. Middle unlocks the bolt, but you can't press the trigger. All the way to the rear locks both the bolt and the trigger for moving. On the Ruger American, you have a very cheap tang safety. It does have stamped metal and plastic components, I believe. Actually, that might be metal, but you know, it gets the job done. It has a big F for fire and a stamped black S for safety. It does not lock the bolt on safe. It does keep you from firing. And then, of course, forward, you can fire the gun. Now, like the Winchester Model 70 has a 90-degree bolt throw, so you have to lift the bolt handle higher to run the bolt. Then on the Ruger, I believe it's either 60 or 70 degrees. It's got a 3-lug design on the bolt, and so it has a shorter bolt lift, which will give you more scope clearance from the bolt handle and can, to a certain degree, maybe allow you to manipulate the bolt faster, but that's debatable. It's kind of more what you're used to. Let's just go ahead, and the bolt release on the Ruger American is on the left side here. You just push it down, and the bolt comes out. Now let's take a look at it. It's really incredibly hefty. Wow, that is heavy. It's got a bolt handle that's a separate piece from the bolt body, and it's got 3 lugs, so you got a lot of surface there. Let's see, it's got a plunger ejector and a little extractor right there. Now, on the Winchester Model 70, the bolt release is on the side, and it's a little, basically, button you push in. Let's remove it. The machining is just plain better. If you notice, there's machining marks all over this thing, and there's not machining marks all over this thing. You have that huge claw extractor. Like I was saying, this is controlled round feed. It actually ejects it by having a piece of metal that slides up into here when you pull the bolt back, and it pushes the casing out. The bolt handle is beautiful, has a huge handle that's knurled, very nice there, a lot nicer than the Ruger American. And one of the best things is this is all one piece. So this bolt handle is part of the bolt body, it's one piece. So there's not a chance of that basically coming loose or breaking like on the Ruger American. Also, to remove the firing pin from the bolt on the Winchester Model 70, you're going to push in this little piece here and unscrew it. Literally just unscrew it and it'll come right out. On this, you really need a tool to do it, and it's a pain in the butt to take it apart. Now let's take a look at the receiver itself. So the Ruger American receiver isn't the worst, but it's definitely not the best design. It's, I believe, forged, the receiver, which is not bad. And then it has recesses in the bottom of the receiver where 2 basically V-block pieces of aluminum sit inside the receiver. The receiver sits on top of them, and they go into those recesses of this receiver here, and then the screws go right through the middle for the action screws. It's not a bad design, and it is a very accurate rifle, but it is much cheaper than the Model 70, and here's why. The Model 70 is all a one-piece steel forged receiver, It has a flat bottom, which I believe gives it a better foundation when it is sandwiched up against a aluminum bedding block or a stock, or the internal part of a stock. Also, the recoil lug is one piece part of that receiver, and it's huge on a Model 70. Also on the Model 70, you have either glass bedding in their wood stock versions that is excellent, or you have aluminum bedding block, which is also better in their fiberglass versions that are available on the market. So the bedding system, the design, I believe, is better on the Winchester Model 70. None of this really comes as a surprise. I'm just, basically educating you guys out there if you don't already know. Now, let's talk about, what haven't we gone over? Both barrels are free-floated. Both are cold hammer forged, I believe. I know for certain they are on the Model 70. Both very well made. We can argue accuracy. Now, can the Ruger American shoot just as precise and accurate as a Model 70? Most likely, yes. But I think that what I've noticed with higher grade rifles is they more consistently over a long period of time hold their accuracy and shoot more precisely than cheaper rifles with polymer stocks, because they don't flex and bend as much, and the components and quality is just better. The foundation is better, basically, in a way. So both are probably equally accurate, but the Model 70 may sustain that precision and accuracy longer, and maybe be a little easier for a person to shoot accurately. The gun weighs a little more, and that inherently will make it probably a little easier to shoot precisely. So I hope you enjoyed this review or this comparison between the Ruger American and the Winchester Model 70. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to hearing back from you in the comment section below.